Hello everyone, and welcome back to Destiny. Here we are in the Leviathan raid. We have the 4th encounter in front of us. If you need the guides for the first 3 encounters, I'll leave the links down below. But here we are, about to face off Emperor Calus. He has summoned you into his chambers, so let's go kick his pompous ass. 4 Emperor Calus, you need to make your way out to the Castellum from the Gauntlet encounter and open the Chalice door. Once it's open, make your way through the hallways and up the purple goo to the final chamber. Now, finally, we have a straight-up boss fight, but there are some very interesting mechanics here. If you've played the raids of Destiny 1, some of them might sound kind of familiar, and a lot of the themes are carried through from the other encounters of Leviathan, including the mechanic from Pleasure Gardens, where you need to build up a stack of buffs to do more damage to Calus. Now, to break down the space you're in, the chamber features 4 plates, again marked with the 4 familiar sigils. This time, they will come into play a little bit more, but you don't necessarily have to memorize their locations, and you'll see why in a moment. Just know that the plates are there. For this fight, you're going to want to designate 3 people for outside and 3 for inside. For the inside team, I recommend having 1 person on the left, 1 person on the right, and 1 dedicated to ad control. For the outside team, it does help to have a left, center, and right to keep things more organized, but you're going to be communicating to the inside, so what you would need to do is decide on an order for callouts, simply so you don't have to shout over one another. You will each be calling out one of the sigils, so keep that in mind. A single rotation in this encounter goes as follows. There's an ad phase, again, for you to stock up on power ammo, the sigils phase, and then finally the damage phase. To begin the encounter, simply shoot the chalice out of Calus's hand, and he will start to summon in a bunch of ads. Once you clear the ads, Calus will stand up, clap twice, and this will begin the sigil phase. This sends everyone to an alternative dimension or something, we'll call it the outside. Those designated as the inside team run into the anomalies in front of you. It would be wise to also designate which one of you gets which orb, just so you don't have to cross each other's paths. Grabbing the orb will teleport the inside team back inside Calus's chamber. While inside, the person designated as ad killer should just focus on clearing as many ads as possible. Again, roaming supers is great for this. Also, void abilities or weapons are key because there will be plenty of void shielded centurions that will spawn in the room. The other 2 members of the inside team need to get ready to react to callouts from the outside team, but you can also still help clear ads. Also, be aware that Calus sends a solar bomb every now and again, which is an instant kill, but you can hear the charge up pretty clearly, so if you're near one, don't be. For the outside team, you will be staring at a giant head of Calus that will begin to suck you towards him. To resist this, there will be these air speed bumps that will spawn into the space. Just simply stay behind them. You can strafe left and right if you need to, but that's pretty much it. If you jump, you will be sucked into Calus and you will die. If you see a ramp ahead of you, just gently strafe into another lane and hang tight. The outside team will then hear a tone, and then the giant Calus head will then display one of the sigils on his forehead. Each member of the outside team will see a different sigil. When the sigil appears, call them out to the inside team. Again, do so in a designated order. Call out 3 sigils, this leaves a 4th uncalled, which is the sigil that the inside team needs to care about. When this sigil shows up, Calus will also summon 2 Scion projections. Kill them very quickly as they will wipe your team if left unchecked. On the inside team, when the signals appear for the outside team, 4 counselors will spawn on each of the plates. They will also display a holographic projection of each of the 4 sigils above their head. The inside team needs to kill the Scion with the projection that is not called out, leaving the other 3 alive. This helps by designating left and right, so if the counselor you need to kill is on the left side of the room, you can kill it faster on the left side. If it's on the right side, then the right person can kill it a little bit faster. It just helps a little bit more. Once the inside team kills the Scion, this will create another speed bump some ways ahead of you. Make sure again that you're not in front of any ramps or holes between you and the next speed bump. Projections will also spawn again, this time accompanied by 3 Scions. Be sure to kill these as soon as possible, if not before the projections. They will cast their void grenade, which will launch you into the air and throw you into Calus's mouth. Keep in mind, you may need to help a teammate kill a scion across from them if it's obscured by a ramp, so keep a sharp eye and communicate if you need help on your scion. At this time, the first speed bump will disappear and you will begin to slide towards the next one. Let this happen naturally. Again, don't jump. As you're sliding, you will have another sigil appear on Calus's head. Again, call that out in order to the inside team, and then they can kill the scion that is not called. Killing the projection will create a third speed bump where you do it again. On the fourth set, he will summon ads but not display any more sigils. Instead, he will stop sucking you in, lean back his head, and begin to spew skulls in your direction. Your job on the outside is now to kill as many skulls as possible. I recommend a reload barrier if you have it. Killing each skull grants a stacking bonus for damage against Calus. On the inside, Calus will summon ads, which is in your best interest to get rid of as soon as possible, simply so they're not in your way. Reserve as much power ammo as possible because you're about to enter the damage phase for Calus. Now, partway through shooting the skulls, inside the room, Calus will begin to charge up a blast that will wipe the team if it goes off. The inside team now must begin to shoot Calus. Critical hits on his head are preferable, and this will begin to whittle down his shield, which will eventually stun him. However, this does correspond to these skulls being spewed on the outside, so if you take his shield down too fast, he will stop spewing skulls, limiting the multiplier stack you can get, thus limiting how much damage you can do to Calus in the next phase. There are a couple tells where you can coordinate when you want to take his shield down. For the outside team, the tell is going to be getting between 50 and 70 multipliers to deal the most damage. When you get around this number, you can tell the inside team to finish taking down his shield. The other tell will be made on the inside team, who will begin to slowly take damage as Calus charges up. If you take too long, you will die from that. So basically, you're going to need to keep constant communication. When the skull and health limits are reached, then you can go ahead and stun Calus. A rocket can definitely help with the overkill of the shield here if you want to play it safe. Think Crota. Once the shield is down, Calus will be stunned. This act will spawn teleport orbs for the outside team to get back inside. This is the start of the damage phase. For this phase, you need to now stack up on the upper right plate, granting you Force of Will. And here, basically unload onto him. I recommend tethers, rifts, reload barricades, whatever you've got. This is also a great time for Golden Gun or Nova Bomb. After taking damage for some time, he will lift his right arm and prepare a solar explosion on the plate you're standing on. You then need to all clear the plate ASAP and get to the next plate going clockwise. So in this case, it's going to be the back right plate. Repeat DPS until he raises his arm again, then get off the plate again and go to the next plate. This time it's back left. For the back plates, I recommend sticking to your kinetic weapon. Save your power ammo for the first and fourth, where you will most likely have rifts and tethers. And speaking of which, when you get to the fourth plate, go ahead and put down all of your barriers, shoot your tethers, put down your barricades, throw your grenades, and just unload everything you've got. Unload onto him until he is immune. Then you need to all clear the plate and work on the new adds. You have just completed a single rotation. If your team is beyond 280 and 290, you can finish this in probably one rotation. If not, it might take you 2 or 3. Midway through the fight, his solar bombs will change into a gun that he's aiming at the plate, so just keep that in mind. Aside from that, I don't want to spoil anything else. I want you to experience it all for yourself, and it's definitely worth going in blind. Defeating Calus concludes the raid. Congratulations, you just beat Leviathan. You can now take all of your tokens that you've gained through the raid to Benedict in the tower and get some more loot. Overall, I think Leviathan is probably one of my favorite raids. I like that the mechanics are complex enough to where you have to communicate, but the encounters are simple enough to where once you master it, you should be able to clear the raid in about an hour to hour and a half. But anyways, let me know if you have any best practices, leave them in the comments below, drop a like if you found this guide useful, and subscribe for more Destiny content. And I will see you all next time.